How you doing? So my name is Carlos Gabriel. I'm an employee at Tesla. I've been working for Tesla since January of this year. I'm out here today because I am concerned for my health and safety. I'm concerned for the safety of the workers that are already here. As you can see, today's Saturday, and it has been close to a week, and the parking lot is full. People are working. Tesla is fully functional right now. It's running at a big, I don't want to say 100%, but definitely out there. And as you saw, some of our co-workers are coming out of work today. I'm concerned for the safety of our community, the Alameda County, Fremont, and I'm concerned for the safety of our healthcare workers. Why? Because the more cases that exist, the harder they have to work and the more risk they put themselves here in Alameda County.
And what do you think about the idea of the Fremont police deciding whether or not this plant is safe?
I think officials healthcare officials, local healthcare officials have the responsibility to make sure that, one, for me, Tesla shuts down. I don't think we're meeting any of the criteria to reopen anyhow. As far as the PD being the ones that are overseeing if Tesla is treating employees well and providing them with the safety measures necessary, I don't think they're the right department. That's what I'll say about that. I think OSHA should be here. I think other healthcare officials, not just from California or from Alameda County, but from the nation should be here, making sure that employees that are working are also getting hazard pay, but are getting all the equipment necessary to remain safe.
And has OSHA visited this plant? Cal-OSHA, have they visited this plant? Because there is a concern of you and other workers here about the problem, the possible dangers at the plant. Has Cal-OSHA been at this plant?
I haven't been back to the plant. I refuse to go back because I believe there's not a scenario where I will be safe and kept from contracting the virus. However, I have not read any article or heard of any coworker saying that OSHA has entered this plant here. And that's of great concern to myself and others.
And, have you been threatened about you better go back to work or you're going to lose your unemployment?
Definitely. We received an email at the beginning of the month. We actually received several emails starting, mid-April, mid to late April. When Tesla was trying to open prematurely, the last email I received was telling me that either I come back to work or I will be lifted off my furlough status, which will in essence take me off the unemployment. So yes, I've been threatened to either come back to work or essentially starve.
So starve or get possibly contaminated.
So starve or get possibly contaminated. Being that there's over 10,000 workers here at this plant, I don't see it possible to socially distance in that plant with that many people. It's a big social gathering. I also don't see some of the coworkers I talk to. They're afraid of bringing lunch. They're afraid of using the bathroom. They're afraid of the lack of social distancing of the whole virus itself, but they're also afraid of not being able to feed their families. So I think that we are being put between a rock and a hard place. Obviously, some of us are choosing to risk our lives, but it's not just our lives that we're risking as workers, it's also our families and that of the communities.
Well, with 10,000 workers here, if they do have an outbreak here of COVID and it goes back to the communities, how is it going to affect the healthcare workers and others who are really concerned about being overburdened by a large number of breakouts? There have been breakouts in other plants and Chrysler and other plants, auto plants all over the country.
With regards to an outbreak at Tesla, I've seen plenty of interviews with Dr. Fauci saying that if at a big plant there's an outbreak, it'll be very hard to contain. And the end result will be the same, right? They will have to shut down and folks will have to go home. So why not avoid that? I think we've done a great job at sustaining and containing this virus here in Alameda County and in California. And I think we're going backwards in allowing, Elon Musk and Tesla and the leadership to reopen without even their consent, because, there was supposed to be an agreement to open the 18th and he still was not satisfied with that. He wants to make money and he's putting Tesla leadership and Elon Musk are putting profit over people. And it's time to speak up. It's time that we speak up for the workers. We might be risking our work if we don't go back to work, but the community has to stand up for workers and say, look, we are with you and we don't want you to get sick and we don't want to get sick ourselves, right? We have to stand up to Elon Musk if the officials are not doing so.
Are you surprised that President Trump has endorsed Elon Musk reopening the plant?
I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised at all. I think the biggest surprise was, for me at least, was Elon's reaction to this whole pandemic and Tesla's reaction. You know, from the start, they have been calling people dumb, Elon Musk especially calling people dumb for worrying about the virus, while at the same time sending the office workers home. The office workers here in this very same plant went home a few weeks before the production workers. So what does it say about priority and who's more valuable here at this plant? We, the workers, are not valuable. You know, their pockets are getting fatter by us working. Our pockets don't get fatter, right? We don't get paid enough even to work at Tesla for the money that they're making.
So do you think they're putting profits, he's a billionaire, above the health and safety of the workers?
Definitely, Tesla, Elon Musk, and Tesla leadership are putting profit over the health of the workers. But again, I repeat, not just the workers, the community. I'm surprised you don't have more community members here in Fremont. Fremont, stand up. Alameda County, we have to stand up, because if not, we're going to get sick. It is inevitable. We're going to get sick if we continue to allow billionaires and corporations to do as they please with threats to move to Texas. What that says about Elon Musk in threatening that he'll move the company to Tesla is that we're dispensable, that he cares not for this community, that he necessarily doesn't have to be part of this community, that he doesn't need his community of workers, he can go elsewhere. So yes, I think we have to hold these people accountable, these billionaires accountable for putting our health at risk.
And also Worker Solidarity Action Network. So we're here today in front of this Tesla plant to demand that there be health and safety protection for the workers. What is going on here today is a travesty. Workers at auto plants and essential places around the country are being contaminated daily by lack of health and safety protection. And we know that at other auto plants around the country, and Chrysler and other plants, where workers have gotten sick and they've been told to continue to work, and there have been wildcats. So what happened here in California at the Tesla plant is emblematic of what's going on nationally. Elon Musk, who's a billionaire, has said that he's above the law. He doesn't have to follow the shelter-in-place law. And he said that you come and arrest me. Well, I say that the government here in Fremont and the government of California should arrest him, because what he's doing is violating the law. And I guess a billionaire has special privileges to violate the law, because that's also what's going on here today. Billionaire Musk, who's a bully, who was an international bully, a union buster here at the Fremont plant, is now saying that he's above the law. Nobody is going to touch him. And we are outraged that the city of Fremont, we are outraged that Governor Newsom has gone along with this law breaking by this robber baron. And we are further angry on that the Cal-OSHA and Governor Newsom has been silent about what's going on here. Apparently, it's okay that workers get contaminated. There have been no OSHA inspectors. Cal-OSHA should be here. Cal-OSHA is responsible for the health and safety of workers in California. There are 18 million workers in California. We have to ask here at this press conference, where's Cal-OSHA? Why haven't they been in this plant? And we also have to ask, how are the Fremont police, how are they educated as far as health and safety? Are the Fremont police aware of health and safety for auto workers or any other workers for that matter? Have they had training on health and safety? You have to say no. The city of Fremont is saying that the police department here is making the inspections about whether or not this plant is safe or not. We think that's a fraud, it's scandalous, and we believe that there needs to be health and safety inspectors here, Cal-OSHA inspectors, and they need to protect the workers here at this plant. Also, we are angry about the fact that this criminal outlaw is threatening the workers that they will not get their unemployment if they do not show up for work because of fear of COVID. That is actually a reactionary thing. Basically, workers in essential industries in this country, like meat plants and others, are being told you either work or starve. And if you work, you'll get COVID. I mean, even FDA inspectors have gotten COVID. So what we're saying is that there's a shutdown of health and safety in this country. Workers, Black, Latino, the working class population is being put in dire straits because of this. And in California, there are less than 200 Less than 200 inspectors in California, OSHA inspectors for 18 million workers. They're refusing to make any inspections. We're calling for 1,000 new inspectors to be hired in California, 1,000 new Cal-OSHA inspectors. If there's no inspection in this plant by Cal-OSHA, how can we say that it is a safe plant for workers to return in this pandemic? This is a question we have to ask, because you cannot return to work unless you know it's safely protected. And this Tesla plant, and Elon Musk is going to have blood on his hands. If workers here get contaminated and they get sick and die, the blood is on Elon Musk's hands. If their families are infected because of working at this plant, the blood is on Elon Musk's hands. And he has to take responsibility. But the government itself is capitulated to Elon Musk. The government is afraid of Elon Musk. This bully, this international bully, is terrorizing Gavin, Newsom, the governor, and the officials here, saying he'll pull out of this plant unless the plant agrees to his conditions. What are his conditions? His conditions is, I'll do what I want, and to hell with the people of California, to hell with the workers here. I'm going to protect my profits. That is my priority. That is what Elon Musk is saying here today. He's saying profit over lives. That's really what's going on here, profit over lives. So we're, the United Public Workers for Action, are calling again for 1,000 additional OSHA inspectors. We're saying this plant should be shut down, and actually that Elon Musk should be arrested for violating the shelter-in-place rules here. He should not operate above the law, even though he is a billionaire. He is not entitled to operate above the law. So our next speaker is going to be a Tesla worker who himself has been threatened and intimidated because he refused to go along with this intimidation and coercion. Why don't we welcome him? Oh, my first and last name, Steve Zeltzer, Z-E-L-T-Z-E-R, and I am with the United Public Workers for Action and also the Workers' Solidarity Action Network. And we issued a statement nationally that this is not only going on here at the Tesla plant, it's happening around the country, and it's also happening in Mexico, where parts plant workers are being ordered to go back to work without health and safety inspection. So we're calling for unity between the workers in Mexico, the United States, and Canada. All workers need to unite together, particularly auto workers, but meat packing plant workers. I mean, let's be clear. What's happening at the meat plants in this country. Workers are being ordered to go back to work without protection. One of the things that Trump did is he invoked the Defense Production Act, but he did not require these companies, Tyson, Smithfield, and other companies, to protect the workers. He did not require that they have OSHA inspectors to make sure they're protected. So what you have in the meat plants in this country at this point is workers are being ordered to go back to work. There's no real inspection. There's no real safety. They're getting contaminated and they're dying. That is what's going on. And they're losing their unemployment. In Iowa, we've learned they're not even getting treated by the hospitals there, these meat plant workers. And part of the reason is they're immigrants, they're migrants. So there's racism involved in this as well. A large number of the workers are black or Latino in this country who are being attacked. And we think that's unconscionable. We think it has to stop. And we think also the trade union movement in this country has to stand up and demand that there be health and safety protection for essential workers. If you go back to work, you have the right to be protected, you have the right to health and safety standards, and you have the right to not be coerced to go back to work when your health is in danger.
Thank you folks for being here. My name is Carlos Gabriel. I am an employee at Tesla. I started at the beginning of this year. I was hoping to, make a difference. Tesla is known for the electric vehicles, and their solar power batteries. I have to say I'm very disappointed in their leadership. Very disappointed in Elon Musk for putting profits over the health of his workers. I'm disappointed for dumping down this pandemic, even while closing the factory in China, even after sending the office workers home here in this very same plant and leaving us production workers to work, even while saying that this is an effective or an essential factory, when he knows it's not an essential factory, that it should have been shut down weeks prior. They have, from the beginning, attempted at not following the shelter-in-place order, and you see the results. They already opened even before they were given the okay by the local health officials. I worry for my health. I don't think there's a scenario where this virus cannot be contracted or can be contained within this factory with over 10,000 employees. Today is Saturday, and as you can see, if you see, it's relatively full, even though some workers already left. I have refused to go back to work, and yes, I've been threatened with taking away my unemployment, which, by the way, I have not received any unemployment yet. I wonder if that has something to do with Tesla themselves communicating with the EDD department. But yes, I'm very disappointed. I think Elon Musk should put people's lives over profits. He would rather say that he'll move the factory to Texas, and spend all the money to move instead of spending the money to protect his workers, to support his workers. Many of his workers will go hungry without his support. And instead of saying, go ahead and stay home if you feel concerned, what he's saying is, if you stay home and don't come to work, then you should not receive any benefits. Then you should not receive any income. Then you should starve. So he's putting a lot of workers between a rock and a hard place. And that's why you see that this parking lot is full. Workers do not have an option. We depend on the local officials and the politicians to defend our rights, to defend our health and defend our families and community. And I feel like it's their responsibility to do so, and they're not doing so anymore. I thank you again all for being here. I thank you for giving us a voice, giving the workers a voice. And I thank you for standing up to these billionaires that care not for our lives and safety and our health, but only for their pockets. Only how much money this company is making per quarter. Thank you very much.
And your name again, please?
And my name is Carlos Gabriel. Carlos is C-A-R-L-O-S. Gabriel is G-A-B-R-I-E-L.
And what do you do at the factory?
I am a production associate, and I work for the powertrain floor.
Well, how long have you been with Tesla?
Just since January of this year. Relatively new.
And earlier you kind of mentioned you worry about containment, not only amongst the employees, but once they go out to wherever communities are from, they might commute from other areas outside of Alameda. Can you speak to that a little bit? What are your concerns about that?
So a lot of the workers. So a lot of the workers are coming from a lot of the surrounding counties, from here all the way to Merced County, and also down south. So there was a breakout in this plant. It will be devastating for the whole of California. It will be devastating for the whole of California, because then it will be brought to. If there was a breakthrough, as I was mentioning, if there was a breakthrough in this factory, a lot of the workers come from the surrounding counties all the way to Merced County. That's a couple hours away, quite a few miles away. So if there was a breakthrough, they will bring that back to their communities. They will bring that back to their families. And it will be very devastating for not just Alameda County, but for the surrounding counties. Where are our health officials standing up to this lawlessness by Elon Musk and Tesla leadership? Where are they? Where is our community? We need our community to stand up. And officials are willing to allow Elon Musk and Tesla to do as they please, and other billionaires, as well as Amazon, who's had also death in Tracy from COVID-19. Then it's up to us to stand up. It's up to us to care for our health. You know, Martin Luther King said, we don't fear the attacks or the threats from our enemies, but it's the silence from our peers. Why so much silence from our peers? We have to stand up to these billionaires. We have to stand up to these corporations. We have to stand up to this lawlessness, to this double standards within law, where the common folks get arrested for breaking a minimal law, and billionaires get away with putting thousands of lives at risk, thousands of black and brown and API lives, putting thousands, because we know the folks that are dying from this virus, from this pandemic, for the most part, are the black and brown community, the black, brown, API community. So if it was someone like me, a brown person, putting others in danger, they will arrest me on the spot. But Elon Musk is getting away with anything he wants to do. He even dared to be arrested. He said, I dare you to arrest me. If one must be arrested, let me be arrested. He even has a lawsuit against this county, right? So he cares not for the health of the community. He cares not for the health of his workers. He only cares to find his pocket. And to the workers, I say, we have a voice, workers. We have rights. We have rights. I understand that you have to feed your family. I truly understand that. But you might get the same results or worse. There might be an outbreak at this plant, and you might bring that back to your family. You might not see your first paycheck. So I say, stand up for your rights, protect your health, protect your families. Thank you very much. So I have not gone back. I refuse to go back to the plant. But what I can say, while working there before the shutdown, the first shutdown, again, I don't see any condition where the virus can be spread. You know, as I mentioned earlier, even in the shuttles, a lot of folks take the shuttle, including myself. I take it from the South Lot, which is not too far from here. And you have to scan your ID. So you're taking out your ID from your wallet or your phone, and you have to scan it just to get in the shuttle, right? So that's one way you can, just in a few hours, you can contact this virus. You can transmit this virus in several ways. You know, sitting in that shuttle with other workers as well, you're not distancing yourself 6 feet. There are folks behind you. Right now, they're not having folks sit next to each other, but there are folks behind you. And also, you're contained within this box. Once you get to the building, you know, you have to scan your ID again to open the door, right? So that's another contact that you can transmit this disease or also receive it, right? Also get it. Also, you know, the cafeteria, the breaks, I have co-workers telling me that are working right now that they're saying that they're afraid to bring lunch. Some of them have gone hungry for 12 hours. They'd rather just eat at home. They're afraid to use the bathrooms. Also, the model of Tesla is that you rotate every 2.5 hours to different positions. So we're touching the same equipment. Even though we have gloves, those gloves rip. You know, you're working 10 to 12 hours with the same gloves. Even if you change them, they rip, right? But also you're working in very close distances at times and touching the same equipment. I don't see a scenario, a condition where this virus could be contained or where Tesla could make it so safe as though I will return back to work. So I refuse to go back to work. I think we do have options. I think there are other areas that are less risky, other jobs that are less risky, and also other jobs that are more essential.
My name is Edward Escobar, ESCOBAR. I'm the founder of the Alliance for Independent Workers and the Alliance for Essential Workers as well. It's the hashtag Essential Workers Unite. Anyhow, my name is Edward Escobar. I'm the founder of the Alliance for Independent Workers and the Essential Workers Unite movement. We are very much concerned across the board, as you know, in the age of coronavirus, COVID-19. Everyone is under existential threat, in particular, the essential workers of the U.S. and abroad, nationally, internationally. We have so many workers on the front lines, from Uber, Lyft drivers to Uber Eats, delivery, which a lot of people are relying on that, it's their lifeline. Also, we're working with collaboration with truckers, hashtag Truckers Unite. In Washington, D.C., outside the White House right now, they are also staging a very long-term protest rally. The same issues, protections in the workplace, corporate abuse of the worker, making them work more and more, paying them less and less. We are asking for PPE, personal protective equipment, masks, gloves, and also the application of social distancing while in the workplace. This is not unreasonable as a request. This is an existential requirement, people. You have workers that are putting their lives on the line for a paycheck, and it's either work or die. Suffer from financial devastation or face the imminent death, because as you know, COVID-19 does have an impact on people with compromised immune systems. And a lot of people are not taking care of themselves these days. They're very stressed, and that compromises the immune system. So essential workers need to unite. That's why it's hashtag Essential Workers Unite, because we have our lives in jeopardy. Our lives are on the front line, and we have to make a difference. Here at Tesla, there shouldn't be favoritism for a big corporation compared to mom and pop businesses. You have the middle class. They are being squeezed out of existence. And it should be focused on the folks that are paying the taxes. The taxpayers, at the end of the day, are the ones who pay the price, not only in taxes, but with their lives, because these are the folks that pay the bills, that keep the lights on for the governments. We need to call to action the government here, California state government, to treat every business fairly, as small and medium-sized businesses also deserve a chance to earn their living, to make their business, to pay their bills. This is not something that is going to go away real quick. This is something that's going to have lasting effects. The age of coronavirus is unprecedented, and this will have lasting effects. This has never happened before. So together we need to support the workers of Tesla. We need to let them know that we are here as essential workers uniting behind them. Hashtag Essential Workers Unite. We will stand together in solidarity here, across the nation, and around the world. My name is Edward Escobar. I'm the founder of the Alliance for Independent Workers and hashtag Essential Workers Unite campaign. Thank you.
Have you been back to work?
No, I have not personally been back to work. I'm not a Tesla worker, but I am a driver.
Okay.
I'm a black car driver and also on the Uber platform.
Okay.
So there's not enough work to go around. And as you know, they give favoritism to new people that are coming on the platform. If you don't know, that's the fact. The algorithm, these companies, they use technology to abuse the worker. In the case of Uber and Lyft, they use the algorithm as their scapegoat, and they blame that type of abuse on the algorithm. But this is not acceptable, because the end result is damage and human suffering, which is not just here, but also globally.
I'm here today to oppose Elon Musk, in particular, reopening the Tesla plant in defiance of Alameda County's shelter-in-place order, because I work in public health, and the shelter-in-place orders, they're here for a reason. They're here because we are not through the wave of coronavirus infection that's coming down on us, including here in California, in the Bay Area, and around the country. So we need to behave in a way that protects ourselves individually and that protects our whole communities. And that includes whether that be as individuals, as shoppers, as parents, and of course as workers. And so for Elon Musk to just number one, outright defy Alameda County is an outrage, because the recommendations are based on actual science. And then the other thing is I assure you that what we're about to see is this new declaration of economic civil disobedience. This is what the right wing does all the time, is they appropriate civil rights language and justice language to try to make themselves seem like they're on the side of the people. And so this whole economic civil disobedience rationale and slogan is hollow, and it's a lie. Like, that's not what it is. This is unbridled capitalism. This is unbridled capitalism and exploitation. They don't care what happens to the workers. They don't care what happens to the workers' families, and they don't care what happens in the community after they unleash a wave of infection. And we know that this is going to happen because look at what's happening around the country right now. It's happening in countries that eased their restrictions and are now going back into lockdowns, and the increase in infections is happening happening around the country right now. Texas did their whole reopen the country thing, and what did they see? Immediately, they saw over 1,000 infections a day for 3 days straight, and it's probably higher now. Same with, I forgot, there's a couple of other states that did it as well. Wisconsin is another. And that's exactly what we're seeing. But this excuse that it's about workers and workers' rights to work, that's just the same old right to work that we've been seeing, that right to work justification that we've been seeing for exploiting workers and super exploiting workers all along. So this stuff is not new, and we all need to stand together to oppose it, because he is setting a dangerous precedent by using this civil rights language to reopen, and that's potentially going to harm workers and the community, and also that he's just setting a precedent that this is what corporations and factories and companies can do when they want to reopen, that they'll reopen in defiance of public health guidelines and of governments. And that's not okay. So that's why I'm here.
Is that fascism, the danger of fascism?
Well,
They're above the law?
it is it's behaving as being above the law. I mean, I think what we're seeing here is now in the COVID era is that these things are becoming, we're seeing these qualitative leaps in what we had already had. We already had this, we already had the MAGA flag waving racists. But now we're seeing them being unleashed on a scale that we haven't seen before. We already had surveillance, in a surveillance state that had huge powers, but now it's being unleashed in a way that we haven't seen before. But fortunately, what we're also seeing is that workers have power in a way that workers have never had before. So on the one hand, there are these increasing dangers, but on the other hand, and what I think is most important is that there are increasing opportunities. And we have an opportunity to stand up, and we have an opportunity to declare worker power, to declare people's power, and to say that, we'll decide when the country opens. We'll decide when factories open. We'll decide when we go back to work. If there's no safety, then no work. And if there's no work, then no rent. And we'll decide when it's time to come back.
We got a jail, boss man Musk, today. We got a jail, boss man Musk, today. Trying to fight for safety and hazard pay. Rotten to the core. Who we talking about, boss man Musk? He's rotten to the core. Oh, what's that lyric say? We're gonna general strike and even more. They never change, they shoot us down without shame. They never change, it's that same old rotten capitalist game.